if you noticed on the way in, just opposite the entrance door is the choir school. If you walk out, you're looking at it. And this school was established in 1432. That was the 1000th anniversary of St. Patrick bringing Christianity to Ireland. So there's been singing here literally since then. But from the beginning, the whole idea behind these big Gothic cathedrals was that they were built for the choir. The acoustics are near perfect. So Christ Church and St. Patrick's were built for the praise of God through singing, basically. The choir stalls are very decorative as well. You see those little brass hatchments at the back of the stall, and then there's swords and helmets and banners overhead. All of this belonged to an order of knights, and they were called the Illustrious Order of St. Patrick. Now, they were established back in the 18th century, the 1780s. They existed into the 20th century. And they were kind of an Irish version of the Order of the Garter, the Order of the Thistle, an honorary knighthood that was granted to very loyal subjects of the Crown, supporters of the government, and there was 22 members and a Grand Master. So they used this area for prayer services, they had meetings here, knights were invested, and in 1870 they moved up to Dublin Castle and left this behind. So it's very much a feature of the cathedral. The swords and the helmets had a ceremonial function. If you look at the size of the helmets, can you imagine getting your head into one of those? With great difficulty. These are actually made from papier-mâché, with the glaze over them, so they wouldn't protect your poor old grey matter either if you galloped off into battle with one stuck on your head. But they're a nice feature. Now, the pulpit, to my right, was a gift to the cathedral towards the end of the 19th century from a former dean. It replaced, obviously, an older pulpit. Sermons and prayers and homilies are read from here. And this lectern came just over 100 years ago as a gift from the Guinnesses. Now, these lecterns aren't unique to Ireland. You'll see them in lots of other churches. Gospels are read from here. And in early Christian manuscripts, and I'm not just talking about the Irish ones, but the ones that come from other places, the Near, the Middle East, the four evangelists are depicted in different ways, and John is the eagle. The spreading of the eagle's wings symbolise the spreading of the word of God around the earth. So he's always standing on a globe. So that's what it's about. The days of reserved pews, by the way, are virtually gone. There is one pew reserved in the cathedral now, and that's the one just to the right there that faces onto the aisle. You might see there's two gilt-edged chairs in there, and in between them is the presidential coat of arms. So our head of state, the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins, if he sat there for the services, it's reserved especially for him. You can see out in the front, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a royal coat of arms carved there, because up until 1921, the viceroys came down from Dublin Castle to the service, and that's where they sat. So that's the only one reserved today. Not very often. Do they have weddings, was the question. The last wedding that I can remember must have been somewhere between 10 and 12 years ago, and it was one of the Guinness girls who came from London for the wedding here. And it was just magnificent, because I was here before they closed it, and the flowers were imported from the most exotic places all the way along. The arches were all decorated. It would be a very expensive place to hold a wedding, because don't forget, you have to make up for the loss of tourism revenue as well. And look at the size of the place. You know, you need a very big crowd to create a proper atmosphere here. So, not used for weddings very much at all. But there's war memorial services. Some of the colleges here, our institutes of technology, use it for their conferring ceremonies. So it's generally closed all Saturdays through November. The students come to receive their degrees, etc. So that's kind of more or less the big events, apart from the regular services that take place here.